Hi, and welcome to another tutorial. My name is Frank Walters. I'll be your teacher today. Today we're going to learn how to do the color splash effect in Affinity Designer. Now, Affinity Designer is a vector-based software for creating vectors. Vectors are not pixelated pictures, but thankfully for us, the creators of Affinity Designer has a persona at the top here called the pixel persona that we can click on. I already have. This is the designer persona, and all of these tools here on the left hand side and on top, these are specifically for vector tools, vector shapes. But we don't want that. It's because we're working with a picture. We want the pixel persona, so go ahead and click on that, and that gives us some different tools to work with. Now, a color splash effect, what it is, it takes a color photograph like you see in front of us. It makes it black and white, and then we selectively bring back the color wherever we want. In this case, it's going to be this front car. The color splash effect is really popular in advertising because it immediately draws your attention to what the creator of the advertisement wants you to pay attention to. So this effect is a very good effect to learn, and this is why it's my first effect in this series of videos that we're going to learn how to do. Also, it's the first video I wanted to do because it teaches us how to use a layer mask and how to use a selection tool. So we get to learn two different tools for the same effect. So this lesson will have two different methods. I'm going to teach you how to make this effect. The first one is to use the white layer mask. So we're going to do that first. And the second one is to use a selection brush tool. Okay, so let's come up here to the layers panel and right click and come down here and press duplicate. If you don't have a right click on your mouse, then you might have an Apple mouse and you would press the control or command button. I'm sorry, not the command. You press the control button and then click on the layer, and then this pop-out window would pop up and press duplicate. If you want to do it a different way, let's get rid of this top layer that we just duplicated. Make sure that this is active and clicked on. Come over here to edit, come to menu bar, edit, come down to duplicate, click on duplicate, and then that also duplicates the layer. All right, so there's three ways to do it. You can use a shortcut, which is Command or Control J. You can right click or control click on the layer and duplicate the layer. You can also go to the menu bar and press edit and duplicate your layer. Now what we need to do is we need to change this image so it's black and white. So we're going to come down here to the icons bar, to the adjustments icon, click on it, come down to black and white. And our image is now black and white. So we can change these different channels, and the different channels we're going to change to 30 for red, and then press the tab key. For yellow, we want 89. For green, we want 59. For cyan, we want 70. Press tab. Blue, we want 11. Press tab. And magenta, we want 41. And then you also have to press tab. There you go. Press the X key to get rid of that pop-out window. All of those channels are, back when color TV switched from color to black and white, they had to come up with specific channels that would best represent the colors for a black and white television and for a color television, and those were the channels that people chose. So those are the channels that I like to use, and so this is, like, for me, the most authentic black and white photo that we can have. Okay, one thing about Affinity Designer 2 and Affinity Photo 2 that's not so apparent when you first use it. So if you're a new user, this is going to be very important for you to remember. So let's look at the layers panel. So the bottom one is the original image, and the top layer is the original image with the black and white adjustment layer added to it. This little icon here, this little arrow pointing to the right, this is a group icon. So click on that. So now it shows the group. This is the image layer, and this is the adjustment layer here. Okay? Every adjustment layer has a built-in white layer mask. Let me say that again. Every adjustment layer, so if we do it like all these adjustment layers here, all of them have a built-in white layer mask. So if you don't know what a white layer mask is, I'll show you what it is. A white layer mask is a transparent mask on the image that you cannot see. The reason it's there is it allows us to paint in the color black to bring back the color of the underlying layer. Let me show you what I mean. Press B on your keyboard to activate the paintbrush tool. See over here, the paintbrush tool. When you hover your icon over the tool, it will say below it what it is, the paintbrush tool, and it has in the brackets, it has the letter B. So that the B is the shortcut. Okay, so now we want to come over to the color studio. We want to make sure that the black is the foreground color. And it doesn't matter what color the background color is, but we want the foreground color to be black. If you want these colors to be black and white, you go to the keyboard and you press the letter D as in dog, and immediately these colors will turn back to black and white. You can click on this double arrow here and it switches the foreground and background colors. Or you can also go on your keyboard and press the letter X. We want to make sure that the black is the foreground. So just foreground means it's in front of. So the black is. And so then now we want to make sure that our layer is active. It is. So you want to click on it. I'm going to come over to our car and we want to reduce the size of our round paintbrush so that it fits inside of this back airfoil. So we want to go to the keyboard and press the left bracket key and make the circle go down. So about right there. If you go to the contextual toolbar, so we'll go there now. Here's the width, the opacity, the flow, and the hardness. You want all of these to be 100. And the way you do it is that you just double click and you type 100 and press return. Where'd it go? 100. 100. That wasn't as smooth as I wanted it to be. And you can also use the slider here. So make sure that all of these are 100 and the width is 49. So the width, you can use this slider. The problem with using the slider, in my opinion, is that every time you want to see the size of it, you have to use the slider, stop using the slider, and then move the cursor onto the canvas or the picture to see what size it is. So in my opinion, the bracket keys are always the better choice. So we use the left bracket key to make it small. Oh, sorry, we got to click on the canvas, make that slider disappear. Come back to the image, use the left bracket key, make it smaller. So that's good there. So now what we're going to do is that we're going to paint on this adjustment layer. Currently, you do not see that it has a white mask on it. But as soon as we start painting on the image, you're going to see this white layer mask, okay? So come over to the image and we're going to create straight lines. The way that we create straight lines is that we click at the starting point, we move the mouse over to the other side, and then we hold down the shift key and then we click. And that action of click, move over, hold down the shift key and click will create a straight line, a perfectly straight line. So that's what we want. So click one time. come over to the other side, hold down Shift, and click again. And you'll see that the whole airfoil is now colored. Now let's go over here to the Layers panel on the right side. Oops, look at that. Not oops, but wow, look at that. Now you can see that there's a white layer mask added to the black and white adjustment layer. So that's very important that you remember that. Every adjustment, right here, all of these adjustments have a hidden white layer mask, and you won't see it on the layer until you start painting in black on it. So now let's go back to the car. What we're going to do is that we're going to use this shortcut, not really shortcut, but you click, hold down the Shift key and create straight lines. We're going to use that action all around the border of the car. So let's do that now. So click here, hold down Shift, click here, here, and here. And you can hold down Shift now the entire time. You don't have to let go of the Shift button. Because every time you click, it will create straight lines. Okay. We now have a straight line around the border of the car. Now, another trick I want to show you is this. Instead of trying to paint within the border, because it's not so easy to see the colors, right? We want to hold that, we're going to go to the keyboard and press the Alt Option key. So go ahead and do that now. Come over here to the Layers panel where the white mask layer thumbnail is, and click on it one time. Pretty cool, isn't it? So now our image is gone and all we see is the white layer mask. So let's come back to it. Because we made the border, all we have to do is paint on the inside and then we're done with the effect. So let's make our paintbrush bigger. Remember how to do that? You press the right bracket key. So press the right bracket key, make it a little bit, that's big enough. So now we're going to click, hold down Shift over here, click, hold down Shift, click, 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 and let go. There you go. That's it. Let's come back over to the Layers panel, and we want to click down here in the bottom, and this brings back the image, and we are done. So that is the color splash effect using Affinity Designer in the pixel persona. That's the first method that I wanted to show you. One second, my throat's dry. I need to take a drink of water. Okay, sorry about that. So now I'm going to show you the second method. So to do that, we want to come over here to the Layers panel, click on the top layer, and press the trash can button. And now we're back to our original image. So now we're going to use this selection. This is going to be method number 2. We're going to use the selection brush tool to make a selection of the car. And then we're going to invert the pixel selection so that the selection is no longer on the car, but on the rest of the photo. And then we're going to add the black and white adjustment layer. And when we do that, the entire image will turn black and white, but not our car. So hopefully you understood that. If you did not understand what I just said, don't worry about it. I probably, when I was new, I would probably never understand that either. So don't worry, we're going to go through it right now together. So let's come over here to the Layers panel, and I want you to use the shortcut this time. I want you to use Command or Control J to duplicate this layer. Now I want you to come over here to the tools, not the paintbrush, but the selection brush tool. If you want to press the letter W for the shortcut, you can. Okay, so click on that. Up here so at the very top, this is the menu bar. Next one is the toolbar, and the next one is the contextual toolbar. These are the options that are specific to that tool. So if we click on the brush tool, those options change. We click on the selection brush tool, they change again. Okay, look at the modes up here. We have the first one, which is add, and the next one is subtract. All we want to do is have it on add. So make sure that your mode is on add. Make sure that snap to edges is checked. All layers and soft edges are not checked. So then let's zoom into our image. We can do that by using the trackpad. Take your two fingers on the trackpad and extend them outwards from each other, and that makes it come closer. Okay, very good. Now we're going to make a selection of the car. Let's increase the size of our brush by using the right bracket key. Make it bigger. It's about the width of the airfoil. So now let's click and drag. We're not going to use the shift option. Okay, that's only for painting. So we're not going to use that. We're going to click and drag. So click and drag and do your best. Just paint over the whole car. And what I really like about using Affinity Photo and Affinity Designer is that they've done such an excellent job with this selection brush. I just absolutely love using it. And then if you use like hair and fur, you can refine the brush stroke. It's just wonderful. Okay, so do your best job as you can. Don't worry if you go outside of the area of the car. So I'm going to release my button now. And you can see that right here I missed the selection. Because the mode is on add, I just got to click on it and it becomes part of our selection. Now let's look at the borders of the car where some of the selection is not so great. That's okay. Come here down to the bottom and zoom in by using the two fingers on the trackpad. We're going to reduce the size of the brush by pressing the left bracket key. We're going to hold down Alt Option on the keyboard, and when you do that, the mode changes to subtract. So then click and drag, and that will get rid of the selection that we don't want. Okay, we want this part here to be selected, so do not hold down Alt Option, and just click and drag there. Over here we want it, so click and drag, come up here, click and drag. Okay, so we want this part here. We'll do the easy part first. Okay, that's a little bit difficult. It's not really difficult, but okay, so you want to zoom in pretty well. And you want to use the left bracket key so that your cursor is smaller. So for mine is like 9, come up the contextual toolbar, mine is 9.1. Okay, a little bit smaller, that's good. So now it's 6.6. Okay, again, hold down the Alt Option key and click and drag, and that will get rid of the selection of the part that we don't want. We do want that, so let go of the Alt Option key and click and drag there. Come up here, press the Alt Option key, and then click and drag. Click and drag here a little bit. Okay, the brush is too big for that, so we got to make it smaller. So press the left bracket key. Press the Alt Option button and click and drag and get that deselected. See, that looks perfect. Let's come up to the other side here. Okay. We want the airfoil. We want this part selected. So just do not press Alt Option. So select that part. Wherever there's color, you want that. We were a little bit too much there. And we don't want this part here. So let's get rid of this part here. Hold down Alt Option and click and drag in here. And this part's a little touchy here. We do want this part, so do not hold Alt Option. Okay, let's move the picture over. Here's some color up here. So paint up there. This part. Hold down Alt Option, get rid of that part. Some of you might be thinking, well, this is kind of a tedious work here. Well, this is the job, so you have to make sure that we're as specific as possible. We do want this part selected, so make the brush a little bit smaller by the left bracket key, and then we do not want to press Alt Option. We want to select it. So come up here. Apologize about that pause. My throat's really dry. All right, so this is another part here we do not want, so hold down Alt Option, and there you go. Get rid of that. And we do want this, so do not hold down Alt Option and select this part. Okay, very good. This is part of the car we want. Do not hold Alt Option. Okay. That looks really good. Down here, doesn't really matter so much because it's black. It's not going to show up. Okay. Our car is right now as selected as perfectly as we can get it. So hopefully you have some good experience using the Alt Option key now. Okay. Very good. Let's press Command or Control 0 to recenter the image. There you go. All right, now we've got 2 steps more to go, and then we're done. So now we want to invert our pixel selection so that we're like, okay, let me start over. Right now, our car is selected. We don't want the car selected. We want the border of the car selected and the border of the image, so that everything between the border of the car and the border of the image is selected. I know that's difficult to understand, but when you do this a couple times, you'll totally get it. So what we want to do, we want to invert the pixel selection. We can come up here to the menu bar where it says Select and click on Invert Pixel Selection. Or we can use the shortcut. They always have the shortcuts to the right side of what the action is. The upward arrow is the Shift key. The next icon is the Control or the Command button, and then the letter I. So just go ahead and click on that. And when you do that, you'll see that some of the dancing ants, or the selection, I always call them dancing ants. The selection is now along the border of the image. See it down here at the bottom? So in Affinity Designer, when you invert the pixel selection, it'll either be on this bottom border or it'll be on the right side. But now we know that the pixel selection is no longer on the car, but on everything else. So now we just have to add a black and white adjustment layer to it. So come over here to the icons bar, come down to black and white. And then we're going to adjust these colors again. You can see the image already. Let me make it smaller by using my fingers on the trackpad. So now you can see that the color splash is already done. But now we want to make these colors specific to how we want them. So red, come up here and double click on this 100 and type 30. Press the tab key. Press 89. Tab key 59, tab key 70, tab key 11, tab key 41. Even though it's the last one, you still got to press tab. So press tab. Come up here and press the red X. Now we want to deselect the selection, so you're going to press Command or Control D to deselect. And then we're done. So now you know how to do the color splash effect using the white built-in layer mask that is a part of every adjustment layer. And 2, you know how to do the color splash by using the selection, making a selection of your object, inverting that pixel selection, and then adding a black and white adjustment layer to your image. So that's it. So now you are a pro on how to make the color splash effect. So thank you very much for watching the video. My name is Frank Walters, and goodbye.